And masquerading, wearing masks. That's another thing. The whole costume thing. Listen to me, guys. This is where I see you wearing some costumes today. Here, that didn't just start here. That originally started back with the Celtics in Samhain. They finally, here's what they decided. You know what? Since that thin veil between the dead people and the living people, man, I mean, it's pretty much gone that night. Doors are pretty much wide open between both sides. And so here's what we'll do. We'll dress up where they can't tell us from them. Where you really don't know if you're talking to a live one or a dead one. We can, instead of being afraid and going and hiding from them, we'll just kind of blend in and hide with them that night. And then they won't be able to tell who's really dead and who's really alive. And so that's where this whole thing of wearing masks that hid your identity and represented death started. They really believed that all the dead people and evil spirits were going to be walking around here with humans that night. And so instead of hiding from them, let's just kind of blend in with them. That's where the whole masquerading thing started. Okay? Am I doing all right on time back there, Skip? Okay. All right. You can get a pretty good clue where these things started. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to get into evolution a little bit more. And yeah, I promise you I got some scriptures we're going to look at. These Halloween practices and these Celtic practices, they all immigrated from Ireland and Scotland to the United States in the 1800s. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's where they immigrated. And let me give you an example. We got this thing broken down to some really detailed years. The year 1848, which was not that long ago. In 1848, millions of Irish people immigrated to the United States because of the potato famine. They were starving to death, basically, in Ireland. And they came over here to the United States. We got millions of them in 1848. And guess what they brought with them? Two things. Scottish and Irish people brought two things with them. Good whiskey and Druidism. Pagan Druidism. And they tended to do those things both kind of to the extreme. All right. They also, one of the things that they brought, imagine this. Around 1850, Irish people who are now living in America, when it got near the end of October, they knew that, okay, we're still going to celebrate, we're in a Christian country now, we're in the United States, but we still want to carry on our Samhain traditions. They had jack-o'-lanterns. And you know what their original jack-o'-lanterns were? Turnips.
Yeah.
And beets.
Yeah.
Beets and turnips. What they would do is they would take a turnip and they would hollow it out, carve it out, and put little windows on it to let lights out, or maybe a face, but they would carve holes in it and make it where they could hold it, put wires or strings where, and then put a candle in it. And the original jack-o'-lantern, was that big. That was the original jack-o'-lantern. They brought that tradition over here with them. Guess what? When they got to the United States, they said, pumpkins are better. Wow. Look at those things. Those are pumpkins, man. They're huge. We can still do our jack-o'-lantern thing with them. Let's try that. So, I mean, jack-o'-lanterns had been around for thousands of years, but pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns hadn't even been invented until like 1850. They thought, this is better than a turnip. Yeah. It's, first of all, it's easier to deal with. And it's big. So that's where the jack-o'-lanterns came from. Pumpkins were better than turnips. All right. All right, what else? Oh, one I will tell you. The turnips that they originally created to use on October 31st were not the little turnip pumpkin or jack-o'-lanterns. They were not created to scare people. They were originally intended to create one and put it in the window or the porch to scare away evil spirits. That was the whole point. That these things, we'll create these little things and we'll make good faces on them, or lights that windows where lights can come out. And that night when we go to bed, we'll put that in our window or on our porch, not to scare people, but to scare away bad ghosts. That was the whole intention. All right. What else? Bats and owls and black cats. Way back in Samhain, they were just animals that were pretty much nocturnal. You only saw bats and owls at night, and the fact that black cats kind of blended in and hid at night. They were just only things that represented, well, they must be able to talk to the dead. If they're nocturnal animals, they must have pretty good communication with the other side. So that's where that whole thing came from. It was no big deal, but, oh, there's a bat, or there's an owl, oh, and there's a cat, black cat. Those things are able to communicate with the other side. That's pretty much where they came from. Now, here's something that is very important, and I will get to our Bible finally. There's something else that has always been associated with Halloween that went back way before Samhain. Witches. Witches was before this. Okay? In other words, this whole Samhain celebration took place maybe a couple thousand years before Jesus. Witches were participating in life on this side way before then. All right, turn to 1 Samuel chapter 28.